the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, which encompasses the boroughs of Manhattan and the Bronx in New York City, along with Dutchess, Orange, Putnam, Rockland, Sullivan, and Westchester counties. The office prosecutes cases involving violations of federal laws, and represents the interests of the United States government and its agencies in criminal and civil matters. The office investigates and prosecutes a broad array of criminal conduct, of every conceivable magnitude, even when the conduct arises in distant places. Today, the office is at the forefront of many important areas of criminal law enforcement, including terrorism, white-collar and cybercrime, mortgage fraud, public corruption, gang violence, organized crime, international narcotics trafficking and civil rights violations. Similarly, the office litigates among the most complex and significant civil cases the Department of Justice handles, from large affirmative civil fraud cases to cases in the environmental, healthcare, immigration, and bankruptcy areas, as well as cases implicating classified information.
June 6, 2024. 3 United Kingdom nationals charged in connection with Evolved Apes NFT scam. Damian Williams, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, and James Smith, the Assistant Director in charge of the New York Field Office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, announced the unsealing of an indictment charging Mohammed Amin Acha, Mohammed Rilaz Waleed, and Daoud Hassan, all United Kingdom nationals, with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. The charges arise from the defendant's scheme to defraud victims into purchasing digital artwork known as the Evolved Apes collection of non-fungible tokens, NFTs. The case has been assigned to U.S. District Judge J. Paul Oetken. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said, as alleged, the defendants ran a scam to drive up the price of digital artwork through false promises about developing a video game. They allegedly took investor funds, never developed the game, and pocketed the proceeds. Digital art may be new, but old rules still apply. Making false promises for money is illegal. As we allege, thousands of people believed these false promises and were tricked into buying these NFTs, including here in the Southern District of New York. NFT fraud is no game, and those responsible will be held accountable. FBI Assistant Director in charge James Smith said. These 3 defendants allegedly were part of a scheme to pump up the price of NFTs with lies to the public about developing a related video game, and to surreptitiously transfer the proceeds of the fraud to their personal accounts. Ghosting customers without fulfilling a promise not only reflects poor business integrity, it also violates the implicit trust buyers place in sellers when purchasing a product, no matter if that product is in a store or stored on a blockchain. The FBI remains committed to pursuing those who perpetrate fraudulent schemes out of a selfish desire for a quick profit. According to the allegations in the indictment, in the fall of 2021, Acha, Waleed, and Hassan executed a type of scam commonly known as a rug pull, where developers advertise a digital project, collect funds from purchasers, then abandon the project and keep the funds. Acha, Waleed, and Hassan allegedly created and promoted an NFT project called Evolved Apes that involved the marketing of digital images of cartoon apes. The creators and promoters of the Evolved Apes project publicly promised to use funds raised from selling the NFTs to develop a video game based on the NFTs, which they claimed would increase the NFTs' value. But after selling the NFTs and collecting large sums from purchasers, including in the Southern District of New York, they quickly shut down the project's website and kept the funds without developing the promised video game. Acha, Waleed, and Hassan then laundered the misappropriated funds through multiple cryptocurrency transactions to their own personal accounts to conceal their ill-gotten gains. Acha, 23, Waleed, 23, and Hassan, 23, all United Kingdom nationals, are charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering, each of which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. The maximum potential sentences in this case are prescribed by Congress and provided here for informational purposes only, as any sentencing of the defendants will be determined by a judge. June 7, 2024. Bronx man charged with 2016 murder. Damian Williams, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. James Smith, the Assistant Director in charge of the New York Field Office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and Edward A. Cabin, the Commissioner of the New York City Police Department, NYPD, announced today the unsealing of an indictment charging Bruce Morris, A/K/AG, with murder through the use of a firearm and a conspiracy to distribute crack cocaine. Morris was arrested this morning and will be presented today before U.S. Magistrate Judge Stuart D. Aaron. The case is assigned to U.S. District Judge Jesse M. Furman. FBI Assistant Director in Charge James Smith said, "Firearms and illegal narcotics continue to infiltrate and plague our city, posing a grave danger to New Yorkers." In 2016, Bruce Morris allegedly murdered Jerome Jemison prematurely, ending the life of another over a drug trafficking operation. The FBI remains steadfast in its mission to remove firearms from the streets and deliver justice for those fallen victim to unnecessary gun violence, regardless of when the crime was committed. As alleged in the indictment, Morris shot and killed Jerome Jemison on August 11, 2016, in the Bronx, New York, in relation to an 8-year crack cocaine distribution conspiracy. Morris, 42, of the Bronx, New York, is charged with 1 count of murder through use of a firearm, which carries a statutory maximum sentence of death or life in prison, and 1 count of narcotics conspiracy, which carries a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years in prison and a maximum sentence of life in prison. The minimum and maximum potential sentences are prescribed by Congress and are provided here for informational purposes only, as any sentencing of the defendant will be determined by the judge. Mr. Williams praised the outstanding investigative work of the FBI and the NYPD. The charges contained in the indictment are merely accusations, and the defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty.
Equality before the law, also known as equality under the law. Equality in the eyes of the law, legal equality, or legal egalitarianism, is the principle that all people must be equally protected by the law. The rule of law is a political ideal that all citizens and institutions within a country, state, or community are accountable to the same laws, including lawmakers and leaders. It is sometimes stated simply as no one is above the law.